Welcome to this special edition of Hispanic Lifestyle's BizCon 2022. I'm your host, Richard Sandoval, and in just a moment, we meet the Region 9 SBA Administrator. Get insights on the procurement process, check in with the City of San Bernardino, and receive an update on the state of Latino business. Our BizCon 2022 program and links to our speakers can be found on our website, HispanicLifestyle.com. Again, welcome to BizCon 2022, the business of surviving to thrive. This online experience is produced by Hispanic Lifestyle and is sponsored by Wells Fargo Bank, with additional support provided by SoCal Gas Company and Union Bank.
I'm Elmi Bermejo. I'm the Regional Administrator for Region 9 for the Small Business Administration, and that encompasses California, Arizona, Nevada, Hawaii, Guam, basically the Pacific. So I like to say that the sun never sets in Region 9. I am a lifelong public servant with an entrepreneurial flair. And I say that because I grew up in a small business. My family has a restaurant in San Francisco. My father and my mom started it 56 years ago. And I learned everything about customer service working there as a kid. And when I first interviewed for my first job in public service for the U.S. Senate, I had no idea what working in politics was. But the chief of staff said, you know, customers and constituents are the same difference because you're helping people. You're connecting them to services. And at your restaurant, you're making sure that they eat, that they have something. In public service, what services do you need? And I think that is a perfect blend to now work at the Small Business Administration, be fortunate enough to have been appointed by President Biden, work with an administrator like Isabela Casillas Guzman, who's amazing, and help small businesses. And not just those small businesses who already know where to get resources, but looking at those small businesses who have that dream of being an entrepreneur, being their own boss. What does it take? What services do they need? How do we connect them to write that business plan? Or where to go for funding? Or simply how to get their credit in order? Because in order to succeed, you have to have certain steps that are going to lead to success, not failure. Because I don't think anybody goes into a small business to say, hey, I think I'm going to be here to lose money. But how do you make sure that you're going to succeed? You're going to also create generational wealth. And I think the Small Business Administration has amazing resources. We have webinars. We have great counselors from our SBDCs to our SCORE, who are people who have had business experience, who can now counsel people about best practices, how to move forward. And then we also reach out to women and to veterans and making sure that those folks have what it takes to succeed as an entrepreneur, to grow their business. And right now we see as we come out of the pandemic, the programs that SBA had, like PPP, COVID Idol, were very helpful for communities. And now those programs are gone. So how do we go back to the basics of saying I'm an entrepreneur, I want to expand? We have different kinds of loans for people to expand their business, to make reparations for their business. What do you need to fix? How do you need to, remodel? What do you need to do to move out of this pandemic? And how do we help you get that? And what resources do we have? We have great partnerships. And so there are just an untold resources that folks can access. And we also have things in various languages. So sometimes with the federal government, people are afraid because it's the federal government. It's kind of a mystery how to navigate that. However, we have things in Spanish. We did a lot of webinars in various languages. At one point, I think we had 25 languages. And we even have it in Asian languages. We even had dialects, like in Ethiopian dialect. I was on a webinar, and it was just really great to know that we were not leaving anyone out. And I think that's the beauty of the Small Business Administration, that it is from that person who just, wants to sell paletas, how to sell more paletas, to that person who wants to do government contracting. I think that's a really great question, because there are going to be many unknowns. If you take the COVID crisis, pandemic, who knew it would last this long? And I think the best way to prepare is to be prepared, have the resources. Es prepararse para lo inesperado, as they say. And so what that means is looking at your list, assessing your business, and if you need help, SBA can help you in order to assess what do you need to go forward. If something goes wrong, do you need personnel? Do you need to reduce personnel? Do you have your taxes in order? Because as much as people fear the IRS, it is also a way for a business to be known. And what that means is you do the paperwork, because when there is a recession and then there's assistance from either the state, local, or the federal government, you're able to access those programs because your information is in order. And I think that's, for a small business, that's really a good way to prepare, to make sure that your documents are there. If you don't have a website, how do you get a website? I know many small businesses don't really have that. There are classes for that. There's outreach. If we don't have it, we'll connect you. So the main thing is to be prepared and to know that you are not alone. We have several initiatives, and sometimes I can keep up with what we're doing. But one of those is, for instance, when it comes to government contracting, opening it up so that more small businesses can participate through that. And we made that announcement with Vice President Harris and the Administrator Guzman. But that's one way that you can say, well, we're opening it up so that more people can qualify for that. And also look for the new programs. Go to our website, because we continue to have webinars to inform the public, to inform entrepreneurs about what SBA has to offer. And that's a great way to be connected. Well, locally we have sba.gov/Espanol, if you want it in Espanol, or sba.gov, and then that will take you to the main site, and you can look at the regional office. We have 10 regional offices in Region 9. We have 68 district offices nationally, and all those folks are there to provide assistance with their web of resources that can help small businesses.
My name is Lily Otieno. I'm the Director for Supply Management for SoCalGas. That means we buy all the materials and services that SoCalGas uses. So supply chain management, material procurement, contracting services, and over all our 70 or so locations across the territory. As a company, our core value is working in a diverse environment. It's not just only for supplier diversity, also internally for our diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, which one of the core pieces of that program is the supplier diversity. Supplier diversity, currently we've been recognized for surpassing 42.42% of our procurement with diverse suppliers. That amounts to $970 million of spend with diverse suppliers. We spend with 577 diverse suppliers in our company. About 13 of those are prime suppliers. Our top 20 prime suppliers are diverse companies. So we do a lot in the community. We pride ourselves in engaging and working with diverse suppliers to ensure that we're really looking at the economy of everybody that we work with in the communities that we work. And so it's very important for us to have diverse suppliers who bring innovation, they bring agility, they bring all kinds of information to us, and we really enjoy having that program. Where we recommend that you start working with SoCalGas if you're a small business is to, first of all, try and see if you can work as a subcontractor, where you can learn, you can be able to understand what our contracting terms and conditions are, our strategy is. You can learn under a prime supplier who's already seasoned and works with us. And the second thing is, when you do that, you also don't have to have this high insurance requirements, but you still do need to be certified. So some of the ways we do that is offer technical assistant programs. We also have what we call our SCORE program, which is a smaller contractor opportunity realization efforts, where we focus on just working with small contractors who can pilot a program with us, and they can now learn the system directly with us. After the pilot is completed and it's successful, they can compete in our regular procurement activities. But that is one of the ways you can do it. Working as a sub is one of the ways that we encourage companies as well. And one of them, in pipeline construction, for example, the requirements for that are so high: insurance, safety requirements, quality requirements. So as a sub, maybe you can come and support them in delivering their materials, in maybe tracking, you can do catering for them, you can do fencing, you can support cleaning of the site. There are so many other activities you can do that we call auxiliary to the main procurement activity for you to get in and work with SoCalGas. Tier 1 is a supplier that's directly contracted with SoCalGas. That means you signed a contract with a SoCalGas logo, with a SoCalGas person. Tier 2 means you're working with a Tier 1 supplier for a contract that is for SoCalGas. For example, the Morello brothers or Doty brothers having a subcontract with another vendor. There's also Tier 3. There's also Tier 4. So just depending who you're signing a contract with becomes either Tier 1 or Tier 2. There are several ways you can get in touch with SoCalGas. One is when we are out in the community in any of the events, you can engage with one of our supply diversity agents and talk to them directly. The second thing, you can go to our website, socalgas.com, under How We Do Business, and you can find a link to send us information about your company. And most of the times, companies, we meet them in the community. The prime suppliers bring subcontractors to us. We have events, we have technical assistance programs that all of us engage in, and we bring a lot of new suppliers into our supply chain. One of those examples is Morello Enterprises. Morello, we work with Morello in several of their companies, but particularly two of their companies. We work with them both in the transmission and distribution part of our business. And Morello, for one of the companies, they actually are pipeline construction, but they subcontract to other smaller companies for professional services, for other auxiliary work that they need to be able to perform their core business, which is the pipeline construction.
Hello, my name is Elizabeth Martinez, and I am the Vice President of Meruelo Enterprises. Our founder, Mr. Alex Meruelo, who started the Meruelo Group, is an entrepreneur that is a Cuban American that started the company many years ago, not only in the utility construction, but also in the media, in the banking, in the real estate, the gaming, and recently with the ownership of the Arizona Coyotes. So the first company that they acquired was Herman Weisker, and that was in 1999. A little bit after, they acquired Doty Brothers. Now, those two companies are primes today with SoCalGas. Doty Brothers, I believe, has been doing services in the transmission construction pipeline with SoCalGas since the 1980s, I mean, over 35 years. And then Herman Weisker, for over 20 years, they've been doing work on the distribution construction pipeline services. We are Tier 1 prime contractors to SoCalGas, and what that means, and that's actually one of my roles as well. So what I do is I go out in the community and I partner with other smaller companies that are Tier 2s that also want to do business with us. As you know, being prime contractors, these are large construction projects from the transmission and the distribution side. So from there, multiple opportunities come along, not only just to do services with us, but also with SoCalGas. And also it's our responsibility, not only because it's something that is obligated, but also because Mr. Meruelo strongly supports other smaller businesses.
I've seen you out and about in the community. I'm just curious, are you sourcing business as well too? When you come across some colleagues and other businesses, are you suggesting to them that they might want to contact your organization to potentially do business?
Yes, I constantly sell for the company as a whole. So when I'm out there in conferences, as I saw you just in the California Hispanic Chamber, I am constantly talking about our construction companies, our media companies, our restaurants and our gaming. I always encourage everybody to come and do business. A lot of the times there's also employee opportunities. We're a big employer in the state of California, and so I always encourage to come and work for this great organization that provides so many great opportunities, not only on the construction field, but let's say you want to go do film, let's say you want to go do radio, we're the right company to partner with. Aside from Mr. Meruelo being a very generous, philanthropic owner of the Meruelo Enterprise, he's been contributing to some of our communities for the past 30 years. So in 2020, the Southern California Development Council recognized Meruelo Enterprises as a spirit of diversity. And for us, that meant a great success, that we're doing the right thing. And so part of my role is to be out there in the community, not only trying to do business, but also to connect with the communities that we serve. It's our obligation and our responsibility. First of all, thank you. I really appreciate SoCalGas including Meruelo Enterprises in this interview. I think, a successful company comes from successful contractors and vendors. And at this point, we've had great relationships with the supplier diversity teams, the procurement teams, and the construction project managers out in the field. And we truly do appreciate it. And this is on behalf of Herman Weisker team and our team at Doty Brothers. They truly appreciate it. We want to move forward with SoCalGas. There's so many great opportunities coming. Hydrogen power to energy, we're definitely ready for that opportunity. So please count on us.
I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you. Thank you to the team that really works so hard day and night to ensure there's inclusion of our suppliers. And that's the supplier diversity team led by Joe Chow and his team. So that team works constantly every single day to ensure that there is inclusion, to ensure that we're meeting our goals, to ensure that all suppliers are included and considered in all our procurement activities. I'd also like to thank the supply management and the inventory and logistics teams that work day in, day out to ensure we're managing risk for the company through contracting and also through ensuring all our projects have the materials that they need at the right time, at the right place. So thank you everyone for all the hard work ensuring that our supply diversity program continues to get recognized as it is today.
Good afternoon. My name is Rob Field. I'm the city manager of the city of San Bernardino. In that role, I manage all the day-to-day operations, implement policy as provided to us by the city council, and other miscellaneous duties as opportunities as they arise. San Bernardino is one of the largest cities in what we call inland Southern California, a city of about 225,000 people. Also one of the oldest, founded in 1810, so over 200 years old. Has historically been a center of government and business. We fell on some hard times starting in the 1980s. Not a secret, San Bernardino was one of the very few large municipal bankruptcies in the state of California that happened in 2012. We have emerged from that though, and now San Bernardino we think we've hit an inflection point. We're at now a point where we're starting to draw in interest, business interest, investment interest. So things are changing, and they're changing very rapidly. It's just happened in the last 2 years. So we're excited about the prospects of bringing San Bernardino back to a position of regional prominence here in inland Southern California. The Latino business community in San Bernardino is incredibly important to not just San Bernardino, but the entire region. I think it's historically been a little bit undervalued, but the city now is engaged in an effort with the Aspen Institute, which is based in Washington, D.C. We're working with their Latinos and Society program to develop programs that will inspire and promote and help minority-owned businesses, not just Hispanic, not just Latino, but all minority-owned businesses get up and running. Matter of fact, the building that we're standing in front of here is called the Enterprise Building, and it is a hub of entrepreneurial activity focused primarily on Latino and African American businesses. So this is a center. It's a very appropriate place actually for you to ask that question, because that's exactly what we're focusing on as we speak. And a lot of that activity is happening right now inside the building behind us. I think one of the things we're most proud of is the fact that we're investing in San Bernardino now in a way that hasn't happened in a very long time. The city's been neglected in a lot of ways, but now we're paving streets, we're trimming trees, we're doing the basics that are necessary to make it a business-friendly environment. We're doing that to encourage people to look at San Bernardino once again as a place where they can and should do business. So we're investing in things citywide. A lot of the focus is on downtown, but not exclusively. So there's a lot of different stuff going on citywide. We have a lot of assets that people don't always completely understand or appreciate. We are a college town. There are 4 colleges and universities that are in business here, so that's a big deal. We're a center of medical activity. There are 2 large hospitals here and a lot of clinics and other things. So there are a lot of medical assets in this community that not everyone fully appreciates. So there's a lot of different components to it. And we're also, of course, there's a lot of logistics activity that happens here. There's some controversy associated with that, but not as far as we're concerned, because it's driving revenues and making it possible for us to do the good works and make the investments that are very necessary to bring San Bernardino back, again, to a position of prominence in inland Southern California. Well, I'm really glad you said the word partner, because partnerships are where it's at. We can't do anything on our own, really. Well, we can do some things, but not the really big, heavy lifting type stuff. Downtown San Bernardino, there are over 24,000 government employees in downtown San Bernardino, which means that there are all kinds of different government entities that are based here. Federal, state, county, school district, special district, and of course the city. So there are a lot of different enterprises, government enterprises here, and a lot of those will support that type of small business investment that we're looking to stimulate. There's a big workforce development center not very far from us here. So the county has major investments here. The feds do too. We're getting grants from all over the place, federal grants, state grants. So we're doing it in partnership with a lot of different folks, and it's really exciting. And so we're in a great time here. We talk a lot, kind of coined the term regrowing San Bernardino, because San Bernardino is a big place, but we're making it bigger and more prominent and bringing it back to its what I would consider it to be its rightful place. So one of the programs we have instituted using monies that were sent to us through the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, is we're establishing a grant program for small businesses. $10,000 to $35,000. It's just rolling out now, and that's designed very intentionally to help small businesses get through what's left of the pandemic, but also really ultimately to grow and thrive and become a successful part of the sort of the business infrastructure, the ecosystem here in San Bernardino. So yes, we're doing exactly that. Well, the Mount Vernon corridor is one of our primary business corridors. It's one of the areas that has historically been underinvested in, and so we are investing in it. We're going to be doing some infrastructure work there. It's one of the areas that we're focusing on for those business grants that I mentioned just a minute ago. So we're doing a lot to help business get back into business up and down the Mount Vernon corridor. It's a very, very significant area of the city, and we're spending a lot of time and effort there. Well, I think so. First of all, there's an important distinction to be made between cheap housing and capital A affordable housing. We need as much capital A affordable housing as we can get. So we have a couple projects that are coming along right now. There's one over next to Second Lake Park that's in the process of being developed now. So there's going to be a fair amount of that type of housing built here, and it's important. It's to ensure the continued viability of all levels, all income levels of the population of the city of San Bernardino. So we are investing in that quite a bit. And trying to make sure that we don't do concentrations of poverty. We're doing, mixed income type projects, not just exclusively ultra low income, because that actually ends up being counterproductive. So we're working very hard to ensure equity, that we have equitable development across the city. So affordable housing, yeah, is a big deal, and there's plenty more of it coming here in the fairly near future. I can sum it up pretty quickly, actually. Because of all the assets that we have, what I really think we can be is the first 21st century city in the United States.
Hello, my name is Ramiro Cavazos. I'm the president and CEO of the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. My job is to lead the day-to-day operations of our National Association of Hispanic Chambers. We are based in Washington, D.C. We are 43 years old. We were founded in Santa Fe, New Mexico by 5 small business owners, men and women, back in 1979, who really felt that Latino business mattered. And we already had many Hispanic chambers that had been founded around the country that in the 20s, for example, the San Antonio Hispanic Chamber was founded in 1929, and many other cities, Los Angeles, Kansas City, I could go on, that predate our national association. So when we were formed, we are a coalition of independent 501c3 or C6 Hispanic chambers from around the country. We have over 250 members that are economic development or Hispanic chambers. And our big job is to represent the interest of small businesses. We have more than 5 million Latino-owned businesses to increase their capacity and their opportunities for their members who need more capital, more connections or contracts. We call those the 3 C's that we embody: capital, capacity, and connections. We're a nonpartisan organization. We don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. We just care about your position on how to support Latino business and the free enterprise system. We founded this country, as you all may know, even before it was the U.S., Latinos were here, and we are very focused on free enterprise, protecting our freedoms and our liberties, and are 62.5 million strong, and 2/3 of the Latinos in this country were born and raised here. Some, their families go back more than 300 years. So we're very proud of our association and the work that we do to create wealth and prosperity in the Hispanic community throughout the country. We're from Honolulu to Puerto Rico, Seattle to Southern Florida, Rhode Island to South Texas, up all the way to Wisconsin. So we're very proud of these hardworking Americans who believe in the free enterprise system, and we are very proud to represent their interests.
Just dawned on me that you have to speak a lot in regards to social issues that impact not only Latinos, but Latino-owned businesses.
Well, Richard, we feel strongly, as you do, that we have a voice that matters beyond just business into social issues, and we care about those issues. And our position is that prosperity and business and economic development and creating wealth for our families resolves many of those social issues that our community is affected by. We know, and data proves, that if you're a higher income earning American, and in this case Latino American, you're going to be healthier. You're going to have less of a exposure to criminal activity. You will be more educated, and you will provide for your children and grandchildren a different family tree that will help guide them to have the same economic success that many American families have had, that have benefited through wealth and also business prosperity. They are not opposites, in our opinion. It is important for us to focus on making money as Latinos, and it's a good thing, in our opinion, to embody the free enterprise system. The dollar sign that is the American symbol for the monetary system, that is known around the world as the most powerful brand or symbol for business or prosperity, came from Latinos. It was, the S comes from the Spanish peseta, and the two bars, one stands for gold, one stands for silver. And that was the monetary symbol that was adopted by the 13 colonies during the American colonial period as the symbol for commerce. So we, from the very beginning, have been all about creating prosperity for this nation. We also brought the mighty Spanish language here. It was the first language after native languages that fell on North America and the continent. And 10 of our 50 states are named by the Spanish language: California, Montaña, Colorado, Nevada, and of course, other states like New Mexico. And so it's very important, La Florida. So these examples, along with thousands of cities named in this country, are from our ancestors, from our founders of this nation, now the largest economy in the world. We cannot discount the 20% of us that live in this country and that legacy. And so we feel, as a United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, we are doing what we have been doing for more than 300 years. We just have been excluded at times from the main opportunities. And that's our job. My dad had a saying that I believe in, and it is one of the things I live by, and it's in Spanish, is no queremos que nos den, queremos que nos pongan donde hay. We don't want any handouts. We don't want anybody to give us anything. We want to be where the action's at. And so our job is to put Latinos and Latina businesses in the middle of the action so we can compete and prosper and take care of those social challenges that our community sometimes experiences for lack of involvement. So we don't like being excluded. There's no excuse or reason for that. We want to be included, and we want to be in the middle of decisions that are being made through corporate America, the U.S. government, and also Main Street USA.
Well, you brought it up. So how are we doing? How are we doing? I hear about this, trillions of dollars worth of wealth that we generate. But if you would, sir, tell me how Latino businesses are doing.
Well, Richard, it's a good question. We are we're doing well. There's no question that the pandemic affected at least 20% of our businesses who shuttered permanently or temporarily. It affected all groups, not just us. We were more on the front lines. A lot of our businesses were in retail, personal services, restaurant businesses. Many of them had to take a back seat and delay their business opportunities or reinvent themselves and do it all online or digitally, or in the case of restaurants, obviously do the same thing you were doing, but do it so folks could come in and pick up your product or service. We start businesses at a higher rate than non-Latino businesses, and that includes Anglo or white businesses. Our entrepreneurship is twice the national average, and McKinsey and Company has proven that through a study they did. One. Two, we are more optimistic about the future in spite of COVID. We were already challenged, as you know, Richard, before the pandemic. So we're a tenacious, resilient community that works hard to overcome. And that DNA has served us very well during the pandemic, and beyond will serve us well to be resilient and do better. As you have noted already, a lot of our businesses thrived during this period of challenges. The last point I would make, as a community, we also are very interconnected with one another. So many of our Latino-owned businesses reopened, supported one another by sending business to one another and each other. We have a community that collectively represents three things about the future of this economy. We're the fastest growing consumer for Fortune 1000 firms. So the products and services will be purchased by those 62.5 million plus Latinos, soon to be 100 million in 2040, 1 out of every 4 people living in this country. We are also going to be the workforce of the future. 80% of the jobs filled in the last 10 years were filled by Latino-owned businesses. We also over-index in that we're younger, but we also live longer. So our ability to be in the workforce and contribute to the economy has a larger lifespan. And the third point is that not only are we the consumers, not only are we the workforce, but we also are the businesses providing goods and services to corporate America and the U.S. government. However, less than 2% of both Fortune 1000 and U.S. government contractors are Hispanic owned. We feel at 20% we should be higher, and perhaps at 18 to 20%. And so we are providing great value. Those are the reasons why we're optimistic about the future. We're doing very, very well. And my last point, Richard, is how we're doing. We're doing so well that at $2.8 trillion, are 62.5 million Latinos, according to the Latino Donor Collaborative. We are now the 5th largest economy in the world if we were our own nation, and that is pretty profound. We just surpassed the United Kingdom, which is number 6. But if you took all Latinos and we were a standalone nation, we would be the 5th largest economy in the world. And for me, that shows our potential, because we know we still have a long way to go, and we're coming from further back when it means to creating wealth and prosperity. So I'm honored to do this work on a daily basis because we have so much ground that we want to cover.
Now, we've covered a lot already, and I just know that you and I could talk for hours on this if time allowed it. But I'm sure coming up, there would be a conference, a convention. Let's be honest with you. I know you're going to be in the next state over. Why did you select Arizona? What's happening in Arizona in October? And what can I expect when I attend the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce Convention?
Well, for 43 years, we have represented and been the voice of our Latino business community and our Latino chambers and Latinos that work in corporate America. And this year, October 2nd through the 4th, at our 43rd annual national conference, we will be in Phoenix, Arizona. Phoenix has a powerful set of Latino chambers in that state. And our co-host is none other than the Greater Arizona Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. It is headed by Monica Villalobos, who is our CEO there. She does a great job. Every year we rotate the location of our national conference. Last year was in Las Vegas, and next year we haven't announced it yet, but we will be in Orlando. And previously we've been to Albuquerque. We did take a year and met virtually in 2020 due to the pandemic, but this is where we convene the marketplace. We expect more than 2,000 people will be in Phoenix now that the economy is rebuilding, and there are chamber leaders and their members. They are our Hispanic business enterprises and their interests. We do matchmaking for 2 days where we connect our members to economic opportunities, contracting opportunities. And then we have corporate America. They're the ones that fuel these contracts. They need to invest in our community if they want to sell us their products and services. And that's how we can leverage the convening of the marketplace in Arizona, which will be an exciting gathering on the 2nd through the 4th. And we invite everyone to join us, Richard, because this is also we feel we are the people's chamber, and we've made our pricing very affordable at low cost for registration and for staying there in Phoenix. We've got a room block for all of our members, and of course excellent pricing for our chambers and our individual small business owners.
I think I've been to at least 4 conventions, and I've always gotten a lot out of it. But I'm a big believer in you get out of it what you put into it. I go to these conventions, these conferences with a mission, and that is to circulate my business card. I'm in the media, so of course I want people to look at our content, but this is where I get to introduce myself to some national advertisers, sponsors, and I do appreciate the fact that the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce gets those corporate people that I need to impress in one room. So,
no, well, we look forward to seeing you in person. Hopefully, if not at this conference, a future conference. It is a place to connect with opportunities, and you're right. You got to show up to count and to be counted. And our voice is important more than ever now. And we look forward to bringing everybody together and making those connections for them. But you're right. They need to take it the rest of the way. And we feel that that's really what business is about, is just working hard and pitching your good and service and creating wealth for our economy.
Well, as I usually do in these conversations, I really appreciate your time that you've spent with us. Afternoon your time, morning my time. But I would like to give you an opportunity to share your final thoughts with our audience.
Thank you, Richard. Well, one, I want to thank you, Richard, for being a small business owner and an example of the 5 million Latino-owned businesses that we represent. 2, thank you for making time to tell our story. We need to be better at storytelling at the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. We've been so focused on strengthening our infrastructure and rebuilding that really boasting about what we do is the last thing we've wanted to do. But it gets to my point number 3, is that we need to talk about our programs and our services to our members and make them available to the whole world, and know that being a Latino business right now is a daunting time, but it's also great opportunity to grow our businesses if we ask for help, and also if we tap into the right opportunities and resources that are out there. And that's what we want to do, is continue to share those resources, Richard, with you and others, and make the American economy, that American dream, el sueño americano, be a sueño latino.
Thank you for joining us for this special online edition of Hispanic Lifestyle's BizCon 2022. Remember, website links of our speakers, sponsors, and details of our upcoming events can be found on HispanicLifestyle.com. Once again, a special thank you to our sponsors for supporting our effort to promote positive images of our community. Until next time, please stay safe and healthy. Bye for now.